Also in the summer though, I feel like that's a lot of the questions. So she talked about how people like get that, deer in the headlights look. It's like one of those things you have to take it day by day, especially in the summer. Like right now I'm taking it week by week still, writing out all of your stuff and making sure that you have like, okay, I'm looking at this week, what do I need to get done? What do I need to study for? But over the summer it was like, okay, like I have an exam tomorrow and then the next day and then it happens all again next week. So it was literally one of those things where you wake up, you go to class, decompress for a little bit, but you've got to go. Like, there's no like hesitation. There's no like, oh, I can study for that. No, you have the exam tomorrow, and then you have the exam the next day. So I feel like it's kind of blurred now. Like looking back at it, I was like, I don't even remember what classes I took. But definitely, like it's a day by day thing. You can't stress too much about it. So. Yeah.
Can I just follow up on that summer? Is it each class 5 days a week, or is it one class 3 days a week and the other class 2 days a week for extended periods of time? Or?
So it was 4 days a week that we had each class.
Okay.
Fridays are off.
No, Fridays we were definitely off. I'm trying to think of like the time frame that we had. Was it a 2-hour class and then a 3-hour class?
Would there be a break between the two?
There's
or
like
2 hours
a
and
very
3
small
hours?
break. We would, so I live like 5 minutes from here, so we would like go home, get lunch really quick, and then come back, or some days we'd stay, study in between, and like eat lunch here. But yeah, it'd be like a 2-hour and 2 hours. So the classes are a lot longer in the summer, but you're jamming so much information in.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that. It seems like that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, most definitely. Getting through the summer is like, a blur.
Yeah, so if you could give that perspective, I mean, if there was any other contrast that you could think of describing the summer experience versus the fall experience, what do you think the biggest difference is? I mean, you mentioned taking it day by day versus week by week. Are there any other suggestions or, I don't know, comparisons that you can think to describe the difference between the two?
I mean, so over the summer, it was definitely really fast. And then once we got to the fall, I felt like I had a little bit more time to breathe. So like, we're taking more classes in the fall, but it doesn't feel like you're taking that many classes as like compared to summer. It was just a lot more time management, in my opinion, for the summer than it was for like fall, just because you're on a regular like semester schedule. So you have like breaks to look forward to, and you're not taking an exam necessarily every single week for the same class. So you have a little bit more time to breathe.
Could you all talk a little bit about your clinical experiences that you've had so far, and you know, maybe what you like about the clinical experience, or maybe if you have some, you know, other people's experiences that you want to talk about as well. Just talk a little bit about what you did in summer or your previous clinicals, and then what you're doing now.
I can start, I guess. So over the summer, I don't even remember what clinical we had. Because we had a med-surg clinical. It was just like it's just like a basic floor of the hospital that you would see everything in, pretty much. I was really nervous. I remember going into the first day of clinical, but I also know that like I ended up talking to everyone else.
It just keeps going on. Yeah.
And they were also nervous. So I was thinking that I was the only person, this is just gonna keep happening. I was the only person that was nervous, but it was everyone. Like, we're going in and we know maybe we've taken like 3 classes, but it was such good experience. Like, it was so nice to be able to like follow a nurse and like see what they do and get some hands-on experience. I thought it was really beneficial, and now like our med-surg clinical now, where, well, at least I'm expected to go into the patient's room and do a complete head-to-toe assessment by myself, like on my own. And I know how to do it because of everything that we learned in all the classes and like my experience from clinical for the first semester. So I think they're really beneficial. You learn a lot more than you would think that you would learn.
Just going off of that, I worked as a CNA before coming here, so I didn't think I'd be as nervous as I was going into my first clinical, but it's kind of like this whole new role that you're stepping into, regardless of any experience you've had. So the first med-surg clinical in the summer was really, really cool because I didn't think this, so you do your clinical in your second semester of the summer. So I didn't think that, I just thought I'd be doing head-to-toe assessments, but you kind of just like go full force and you're passing meds and giving shots and doing catheters and head-to-toe assessments and vitals. And so you're right from the bat, you're getting all this experience in the clinical setting. And then now in the fall, we're in another med-surg, and then we're also in OB clinical. And OB clinical is really cool. The whole atmosphere is just really cool. And regardless of like how much hands-on experience you get, you learn so much just from like talking to the nurses and observing. So they're definitely really cool experiences, and I'm very, very glad with like all the setup so far. And all the clinicals to come are really cool, like with the PEDS rotation in Chicago, and just like how they set up the practicum the second half of summer too.
Yeah, I think that the clinical professors like kind of make clinical for us too. We've got a really good OB professor, and our professor outside of class, but she kind of just like tosses us in situations, and she's like, this is going to be really cool, you need to watch this. And it kind of makes you uncomfortable, like you see like a full birth. Like I personally have never seen a full birth until that day, and it was very, very cool, but it's so nerve wracking. And she's like, no, like go in, they're cool with it, like, and you're like, all right, here goes nothing. That's kind of how you go into it, all of them though. I feel like each day is something new, so you have like different assignments for each day that you're at the hospitals, and each assignment correlates with what you're going to be doing that day. So for that day, I got to explain the entire process of it and, you know, my reflection on it and stuff like that. Then you also have like postpartum days, and you also have like newborn days and stuff like that. So it's really cool, and I think that other people would say different things about their professors, but we have a really good one. Cassandra and I are in the same OB clinical, so.
Well, I'm not in their OB clinical, but it's great, you know, you get to see a C-section and stuff, and OB's a little different being a guy, but it's great, all the hands-on, you know, you assess the baby, and everything you learn in class, you get to really apply it into the clinic section of it all. And I mean, I look back on my first clinical, it's pretty cool because the clinical instructors, they want you involved, and they say, go give this guy CPR. Some guy was cold coding, and they just throw us on there, and I've actually got to give somebody CPR, and just that real hands-on experience. And the ER is exciting too when you get in there and you just have all these different cases. I don't know how the girls feel about the ER, but it's exciting, it's fast-paced, and you get thrown in the cath lab and see all that, and so you get exposed to lots of different areas and kind of get to see what you like and what you don't like and where you want to be. So I really like it. Good hands-on experience. So, yeah, you want to go in the ER? Great.
Monica or Sierra, do you guys want to add anything?
Yep. I also want to say something real quick. So for one of our classes right now, we also get like an excursion. So like there's different places you can go to. I think one was like cardiac rehab, the wound clinic, and infusion center. I went to the wound clinic, and it was one of the coolest experiences ever. So just like all these little different clinical experiences, there's so many opportunities and to see different things. But the wound clinic is really cool, and I think everyone else probably went to a different place and they'd say very similar things.
I don't know, I guess like OB, it was awesome. I actually got to help deliver a baby. So just all of the different hospitals that we get to see and experience, and all the different things. So like it really prepares us for what we actually want to do when we graduate, what field. It's really neat to be able to see everything.
I feel like we have really awesome instructors for the clinicals because in all the clinicals I've been in so far, my instructor has been like, okay, I'm going to put you where things are happening today, not just like I'm putting you with this nurse just because. Like they make sure to really know you're learning stuff and getting the experience that you should. So that's pretty awesome.
Very good. Okay, so one of the things that would be helpful for this group to know is an explanation of what ATI testing is and what are those things outside of the classroom and outside of the clinicals that you're getting in your education to prepare you. So yeah, talk a little bit about ATI and when it starts and what to expect and what does that even mean?
Well, I don't know if it stands for something. But you get 210. You get some ATI books, which they're like practice books for all your classes, and you can go through whenever. So at the end of 210, you have your first ATI test, and it's like the scariest thing in the world because you don't know what you're expecting, and really it'll be fun. So you get over that, and then we have one for OB, just OB this semester. And so it's pretty much just like everything you learned plus more. So like you're never gonna know it all because there's just so much. It's not like you're spending your lifetime in OB, so you're not gonna know everything there is to be. And I don't think you're meant to know everything. But what helps is obviously class, and then you have the ATI book to help with the extra stuff you haven't learned, and just to review. And
like I said, Kathy Parks, she's awesome. She goes chapter to chapter in each book and tells you the important parts. So that's what I do. I watch her 5-minute clips and highlight everything in the book. It really prepares you to help study for the test. And ATI is really, it helps us for NCLEX. So all the questions are NCLEX based, so it really prepares us for when we go to take it.
So ATI is basically you're preparing for the NCLEX. And I remember getting my books and then coming home and showing my mom, who's also a nurse, and she's like, why do you need those? Like, you're not taking the NCLEX yet. Like, I only got them when I was going to take the NCLEX, and I was like, no, it's part of our classes. Like, we take an exam as like part of our classes. And I think that's beneficial because you're taking it's literally just me. You're taking a NCLEX style like exam on like different subjects, so like different classes, and I think that's super nice because then you get to like focus on just that topic, which is beneficial more than like doing an overall like, okay, you only have a little bit of this like and a little bit of this in the overall NCLEX. Like this exam is just for this topic, which is it helps you study for like just that part.
I thought ATI was awful the first time. I also though, the way you prepare for it, so I like one of the things that all of our professors say, they say there's NCLEX world and then there's real world. So you've got things that nurses are doing and aren't necessary, like I don't want to say they're not doing the correct thing because they're definitely doing the correct thing, but sometimes NCLEX is very obscure with their demands. So I think that it's important to note that like you're not going to do well on the ATI unless you like study what ATI is teaching you. So those books are super helpful, and I found that like correlating with what we're learning in class and like highlighting like, okay, I do know this, so everything that I've highlighted, I know I don't really need to look over, I'll flash it, but it's not something that I'm going to really focus in on because we've learned it or we've been tested on it or stuff like that. That's how I study for ATI, but I didn't like the first time.
So one thing that Valpo does that I don't think we talked about, all of our tests are taken on ExamSoft. So you download this software program and everything's on your computer. So you make sure you have a good computer that has all the current requirements and everything. Because I think that's always changed. I don't know, do you have a Mac or something? You have a, she has a Mac. So I don't have a Mac. But yeah, I have whatever the other one is, Microsoft. Is that what it is?
Sure.
Yeah, Microsoft. She's got a Mac, but the requirements are different. So you take all your exams on this ExamSoft, and that's kind of similar to ATI. It just kind of and NCLEX. So with all your tests, you're kind of getting in this groove, you know, where everything's online, you know, and with ATI, you can't go back on ExamSoft. You can like flag a question, but they're going to change that. So make it more like NCLEX world. So you once you click the answer on that question, you can't go back. It's submitted. So it's like one and done, you know it, move on to the next one, and all your tests are timed. Like there's a timer in the top that it's ticking down like it is in ATI world. So it kind of like helps you prepare, you know, get in that mindset, testing, and, you know, it's really good. So it gets you prepared, psyched up.
Good question.
I think you answered it. The format of most of the testing is
Okay.
objective style.
Okay, yeah.
Multiple choice.
Yeah, that's important too. So all of our tests are multiple choice. We have some calculation, obviously, like as nurses, we calculate meds and stuff like that. So we have some calculation problems, and those are graded based on accuracy. But everything's pretty much multiple choice. We do have select all apply, but those aren't on the NCLEX. So those are more so, we want you to have this knowledge that we're practicing the NCLEX.
And they'll like tell you if there's gonna be select all that apply or like questions that aren't multiple choice.
Yeah.
Like you just